Hey everyone, it's Justine and welcome to the fourth 12 Days of Christmas. So this is 12 Days of Christmas 2017. Can't believe I've been doing it for 4 years already. And I just wanted to say it's been an amazing journey. So thanks for joining me. If you're new to the 12 Days of Christmas series, essentially all it is are 12 Christmas inspired video tutorials that come out daily over 12 consecutive days from Monday to Friday. So the series runs October 23rd until November 4th, and prizes will be announced on November 7th. So you have lots of time to get in your comments, and don't worry if you happen to miss a day. So each day I'm going to come out with a video tutorial as usual, and it's always sponsored by a company, so they do a really nice giveaway for you to win as well. I like to feature the latest and greatest products that are out there on the market right now and some of the latest and greatest techniques, or maybe some techniques that are making a comeback. So I hope you are inspired to make your own Christmas cards this year and maybe follow along with some of the tutorials that I'm going to be making for you. Now, I'm always looking for ways to make it bigger and better. So this year, to kick off the event, I have invited several of my crafty friends in the industry, along with Simon Says Stamp, to create a video hop for you. So if you've done blog hops before, or maybe you've never even heard of them, all this is a group of people that collaborate to make, for in this case, Christmas cards. And I'm going to link to the next person. And so in my video description, I'll have a link and you could go to the next crafter that's created to help me support my series. And they're gonna link to someone else and they're gonna link to someone else until you go around in a full circle. So you'll have 8 videos, I believe, to watch in total. And you're gonna have to leave a comment on each one of them in order to win some fabulous prizes. I'll talk about the prizes at the end of my video tutorial today. So let's get started and kick off the crafty season. Happy holidays, everyone.
All right, let's get started on today's tutorial. So I'm going to be using some Ranger glossy cardstock here, and I'm going to be working with some alcohol inks, which seem to be making a comeback in the industry lately. So I've decided to use a combination of purples, blues, and pinks in order to create a night sky sort of theme. So I'm going ahead and I'm using a blending tool. This is traditionally used for ink blending and where you'd most commonly see it. But instead of having a sponge on the bottom, I have a little felt pad. And I'm going to link to those below in the video description in case you've never seen them before. So I'm just adding little dots everywhere onto the palette, and I'm adding some metallic mixatives right now. You don't want to go too heavy on the silver or the golds that come in this. And then you're going to pounce and sort of move your tool back and forth, left and right, and cover the entire panel. And you can see just how vibrant the alcohol inks are. And because they are made of alcohol and alcohol evaporates really quickly, these are really quick dryers as well. So I think even the most saturated card that I have took less than 2 minutes to dry. So for those of you who are impatient like me, these are perfect. Now you can go back with second layers too if you're not happy with the first one. And you can add more of the colors that you're trying to go for. So right now it seems very sort of splotchy, and that might be the look that you're going for. However, I'm going to go ahead and continue, and I'm going to add some more of the colors on my brush and do the exact same thing here and create a second coat. And now you can see it's much more blue. And at the very end, I'm going to show you all the backgrounds once they're dry, what they look like. So for my second background, I'm actually going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to even use the same felt pad so I can pick up any of the excess ink and nothing goes to waste. And I am going to, this time though, once I finish doing my layers, I'm going to add a little bit of alcohol blending solution. Now mine is quite old. It has a different label than I think the ones they sell now, but I'll link to it below in the description regardless. And once you topple a little bit of that onto your cardstock, it's just alcohol really, and the ink is going to react in a really cool way. It's going to sort of spray away from the actual color, and it's just going to make really cool sort of bubbles. So you're going to make a really different look each time. And what I love about alcohol inks is you're never going to replicate the same background twice. You'll notice here, for example, with this one, I'm doing a direct-to-paper technique. And this one here, alcohol inks last me forever, so I'm not really concerned about any sort of waste. But I'm piling a little bit on top, I'm adding some of the alcohol inks, and I'm letting it run down the page, and this is going to create a really cool effect. Now, I'd actually done this card earlier, but I forgot to turn on my camera, so in the end, I'm going to end up with 2 of these panels. So if you're following along, create 2 of these, and then you'll have the same amount of panels at the end as I do. So again, just going in, adding some more color here and there to fill out those white gaps, adding some more of that alcohol solution, letting everything drip each way. It's going to create such a really interesting result and a really awesome blend background. And if you get any of those white spots, just touch it with your finger there and it'll actually go into the space where the color needs to be. Now, if you are not wanting to get your fingers really dirty, I would suggest using latex gloves, and make sure you're doing this in a well-ventilated area because these are alcohol, they do have a bit of an odor. So for the last one here, you can see it's picked up some of the color from the back, and that's fine because I'm using the same colors each time. I am going to be using a blowing technique, so you will need either a straw, or in my case I don't have straws, so I used the tube of a pen. And I'm going to go ahead and blow around the colors in order to blend them. So I added all my color, and then I'm going ahead with the tube and I'm blowing all the ink. And this is really neat. So I love the way that this looks, and I saw this in a video the other day and thought that that was really cool, so I thought I'd feature that as one of the techniques you could possibly do. I've been working with alcohol inks for a very long time, and I'm really excited that they're making a comeback because they just create such bold backgrounds. They're so pretty, and the results are really stunning. So once that was all finished, you could even leave some of the white if you wanted to. That's going to look really nice too with that contrast. However, for the card that I'm doing, I know for a fact that I need the whole background covered. And this is absolutely gorgeous. So I just kept working on it. You keep adding your colors, you keep adding the alcohol blending solution until you're happy with the results. So here are my final backgrounds, and you can check them out here. So we have so many different results. They look like photos almost. They dry completely flat and glossy, and they look absolutely stunning. And I can't wait to pair these with some of these awesome dies from Simon Says Stamp. So let's get started with the die cutting. So I am going to be die cutting several dies from Simon Says Stamp in order to create some really cool background effects with these alcohol inks. I'm personally a clean and simple stamper, so these are really perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and die cut a bunch of these dies, and in order to save time, I'm only going to show you the one being cut, but I'll show you the result of the die cuts that I cut out, and I'll let you know which names they are once they're all cut out. Alright, so I cut out onto 4 by 5 1/4 panels this pine needle wreath. This is absolutely gorgeous, stunning detail. Then I cut out the SNOWBURST collage, that's the one that I showed being cut in the video. And then I also cut out this holly triptych, and I cut it in landscape and a vertical card. And in the end, I ended up cutting out 2 of those pine needle wreaths as well because I had enough of the backgrounds in order to make 5 cards. I also am going to be using this Rejoice die, and I'm going to cut that as a sentiment directly onto my card panels. Now the Rejoice die is also really cool in that it comes with the text word Rejoice and also a background. So this is the text piece here, and I'll be showing you the background that it comes with as well later. So I'm going to just put all of the cards together. Simply all I'm doing is adding the alcohol panel to the back of each card panel that I die cut and gluing them on and putting them onto some card bases. I'm going to be doing all of my stamping and embellishing at the very end of the video. So for this one, I went ahead and I secured those little leaves here using a little bit of glue and my tweezers in order to make sure that if I mailed them, they didn't get caught in the envelope or anything and rip. So that's really important, is to just glue down these layers. Absolutely gorgeous. I absolutely love that die. It's one of my favorites. For the second card here, I am going ahead and I'm going to be doing the Holly triptych as well as the Rejoice, and then I'm going to show you as well that I actually paper pieced all of the white pieces into the text. So of course, if you want, you could also just leave it the way it is. It looks really pretty with the Rejoice the way it is, but I went ahead and I added those white pieces that were die cut as well in order to not have those little holes in there. Those drive me crazy, but of course you could just leave them as is if you don't mind. It's going to add more color to your card as well. For this one, all I did was simply glue it down, and I'll add those embellishments and sentiments afterwards. Really, really pretty snowburst, and you could always add this on a landscape card as well. And then the last one is going to be this pine needle wreath here, and I did the same thing for the sentiment. I paper pieced all of those white pieces in. However, I didn't film that because you've already watched me do it. Now, I just really wanted to pay attention to this last card because I wanted to show you how you can fix some of your errors. So I went about normally for this card. It's one of those pine needle wreaths, and I didn't cut the sentiment into it this time. I wanted to make a different card. So I went ahead and I glued the alcohol ink piece down and went about my usual ways. And my plan was to put the rejoice sentiment actually in the center of the wreath instead of having it on the side. So I went ahead and cut that rejoice background this time out of the alcohol ink background. And then I went ahead and I grabbed some stick-it paper and I placed it on the back of my card. So you can see it's adhered to the back of my card. And I am going to be cutting the rejoice word die this time. And when you do that, what's really cool is it creates an adhesive on the back of your intricate die. I don't know about you, but I really don't like gluing fine sentiments like this one. And I find the adhesive really great. So you just pull off the back like I'm doing here. It might take a little bit of work. And then I just simply was able to place it onto the alcohol background with the adhesive already on it and kind of mold it and manipulate it so it all fit together. And you can even see that the J actually ripped, but because of the adhesive, I was able to just stick it back on and nobody would ever notice. So that's really cool. And then just adding the exclamation mark. You can go ahead and add the white dots, or you could add those white dots for the eyes and the J in with a white pen later. So now I'm just gluing the background this time. So it's glued onto this background. It makes it really easy to glue down because there's nice large spaces. And then you can glue that and put that onto your final card. Now, my idea was to actually place it into the center of my wreath, but for some reason I wasn't really paying attention and I put it down below. So once I realized my mistake, I quickly grabbed it and thought, oh no, I wanted to take it off because I wanted it in the center. But it was a little bit too late. So I tried to fix my mistake by grabbing a sandpaper eraser and erasing it, and then it ended up getting the color of the eraser on it. So I decided to cut it down to a 4x4 card so I could cut off the bottom. So that was one solution. However, it seemed to be that I still had a little bit on there and it really wasn't working. So I had to go into card surgery mode. So what I decided to do was I grabbed a stitch circle die from Simon Says Stamp, and I ran that through my die cutting machine and then just simply had this circle after I had lifted it off the paper. And now I've created this even more intricate card and it actually looks really stunning. So sometimes mistakes can be a good thing. Don't give up and try and find a solution for them. Now here is a look at the final 5 cards here before I start stamping and adding embellishments. So once I finished that, I went ahead and I used the Altenew Holiday Wishes 6x8 stamp set. And this is a wonderful stamp set, especially for stamping the insides of the cards. So the majority of the sentiments are actually quotes and sayings, except for this one. So for the front of this card, I had wrote down, hoping the holidays lead you into a bright and joyful new year. And I added simply Merry Christmas then on the inside because I wanted something small. However, for the other ones, you can go ahead, of course, and add in the same sentiment, so you can stamp it a couple of times if you like, in order to save some time, so you can stamp these in all your holiday cards. And this one here, it is so pretty. It says, from home to home and heart to heart, from one place to another, the warmth and joy of Christmas bring us closer to each other. So super pretty sentiment there. And I stamped that actually more than once onto different cards just to show you that you could, of course, stamp the same one each time. Or you can switch it up on each one of them and you could add something different. So for example, for this one, I added the sentiment that said, may you have the gladness of Christmas, which is hope, the spirit of Christmas, which is peace, the heart of Christmas, which is love. Such a pretty sentiment, again, for your holiday cards. And it takes up a lot of the backing, too, because I know for me, I don't like to write a lot in my holiday cards because I tend to send over 100, so these large sentiments are really just quite perfect. And this last one here is some of the lyrics from O Holy Night, which is one of my favorite Christmas songs, so I wanted to add that in there. Now that these are finished, I did notice that my camera did kick out for the stamping of this front of this card, so I will add some more details on my blog as to how I did it and which stamp sets I used. You can see the fronts and the backs of each one of these. They're absolutely stunning. And I love the way that they turned out. These little pop of color against the white backgrounds make everything so clean and simple and crisp, and it just makes that white pop and those colors pop. Absolutely gorgeous. So now it's time for the giveaway. I would love to know what is on your wish list this year that is a crafty item. So please comment below. Go ahead, go through the video hop and leave a comment on everyone else's blog for a chance to win a $10 gift certificate for Simon Says Stamp. We have 5 up for grabs. 3 packs of 10 cards handmade by me are up for grabs as well, and a choice of a regular or mini Misty. So you can click here to go to the next video, and you can welcome to subscribe to my channel as well. And be sure to subscribe to all the channels along the way. These ladies make fabulous video tutorials. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 2.